Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. And now, let's start with the first story. It's called 15-Minute Problems. In a previous job, husband worked 8 to 4 in an office. Many of his colleagues worked 9 to 5. So they were still working when he was leaving. When he was about to leave, he'd usually be asked a technical question or asked to quickly glance over something by another member of staff. This was rarely quick and usually had him standing around for a further 10 minutes, which on a regular basis starts to add up. One day, his manager was going over the monthly timesheets and asked my husband why he'd added 10 minutes on 5 days across the past month. Bear in mind, flexi-time was allowed. My husband explained the situation, referring to the specific problems he was asked to deal with on each of those 5 days. The manager told him that the company only works in 15-minute segments, so he can't put down 10 minutes. It would have to be 15 minutes. However, we can't round it up, because that's dishonest, he said. So just bear it in mind for next time. This was in front of the rest of the office. That very same week, my husband signed out of his computer at 4 p.m. Just before he leaves, the manager asked him to explain some of the particulars in an email he'd received from a contractor. My husband asks, "How long will it take?" The manager replies, "Just 5 minutes." My husband then says, "Unless it's a 15-minute problem, I'll have to look at it tomorrow." Is it a 15-minute problem? His manager turns red and awkwardly says it's not. My husband respectfully states that he will put it at the top of his to-do list the following morning and leaves. One of his colleagues texted him just after 5 and said there was an awkward silence after he left, and when the manager eventually got up and left to do something, they all burst out laughing. The next story is called Holiday Entitlement. I get time off in lieu, up to 8 hours for every week I work at the moment. The union got this deal for us, because we are 6 people doing the job of 18. I've accrued 170 hours in the last few months. I need 2 weeks to provide respite for my parents. My manager, just back from a month off themselves, called me yesterday to say their new manager has said due to operational demands at this time, she was told not to grant my leave. I laughed to myself and asked what specific actions would I be taking during that fortnight, which I couldn't take before or after to achieve the targets. I made some suggestions of ways the manager could help. They said they were not willing to. This is the usual modus operandi. They have tried to screw other colleagues out of leave on 4 different occasions, but never came for me before. I called their manager to confirm the refusal was coming from above them, and there's no such directive. So I'm ignoring the fact that the leave isn't sanctioned now. I will be going about my life completely as normal. During the period I was meant to have the time off. If they want to take disciplinary action, they can, but it's a very protracted process and almost impossible to prove. And this way, I don't have to dip into my leave. And when the manager leaves fairly soon, I will be able to take those hundreds of hours on an official basis. Today is my first day of not logging on at 7 a.m. in 6 months. Viva la resistance. The last story is called Exactly as Told. I was recently directly employed at the UK HQ for a sizable national B2B company that I'd contracted for. I got a new micromanager, Bob. Bob started our relationship with a request for a one-on-one meeting to understand my role, as it was one they'd never experienced, except as an end stakeholder. Seems promising, so I prepared a concise but thorough briefing presentation to outline core deliverables and resource allocations as they stood. When the second slide, showing the period spread of legal and corporate compliance activities, was up for 3 seconds, I was instructed to cease presenting and dress down. Do you presume to instruct me, a board director, your superior in all aspects, and your direct manager on how to run my subordinates? No. I presumed that you called this meeting to familiarize the key deliverables and legal requirements of a business area that was the exclusive remit of Jim, the hiring manager. If this was a misinterpretation on my part, I apologize. And Bob cut me off at this point. That's quite enough. You are here to be told what, how, and when to do your job. At that moment, I'm having a mental replay of overheard break room conversations about Bob's need to control everything. Bob continues, I am in charge. I give the instructions. And you treat anything that could be construed as a request as a direct order. The only time I want to hear from you is for clarifications, authorizations, or to confirm that you have received, understood, and actioned my orders. My blood was rushing to my ears. The nails on both hands were close to splitting my palms. But I knew anything I said would end badly for my salary, and that I'd have to play nice. Understood. May I clarify one thing, please? Bob had a look of utter contempt. What exactly was unclear from what I just said? I reverted to a customer service developed tone. Nothing was unclear. Only you are omitted to reveal how and when I am to receive orders. Bob turned crimson. Email when it hits your inbox. My PA will have minutes of this meeting ready before you've made it back to your desk. Now out. I am too senior to waste more time on this. About 6 months later, after fastidious compliance with directives issued to me, mostly via Bob's nice but very timid PA, and careful covering myself, archiving of all comms and backups to keep us legal, all whilst discreetly exploring alternative career options, both within and outside the company, I am in receipt of a meeting invitation to attend Bob's office. Bob was not looking up from his monitor. I need you to book a 2 weeks holiday to be taken ASAP. This off-the-record request is your #1 priority. I'm about to be stood up to take the fall for the state our compliance submissions had fallen into. Luckily, I did everything legally required of me. I'm not responsible under policy or law for the compliance. Only what I am told to do. At this moment, I decided that this is my chance to goad Bob's ego. 2 weeks ASAP. Gladly. I can hand over everything by the end of this week. And I did get ahead of the monthlies, in case you forgot to request them, so I could start with them next week and the week after. Bob was looking oddly relieved and made eye contact. PA will process and authorize. Those monthlies better be perfect. You are dismissed. Friday comes, and the anticipated flurry of last-minute requests and instructions come through. Amongst the laundry list was the utter gem I had hoped for. A direct email, not PA acting as, with instructions to keep the company phone with me at all times, and to keep regular, twice daily, contact throughout the 2 weeks. No one asked what I was doing with my impromptu 2 weeks away from the office. I was fortunate to have the chance to fly halfway around the world, to stay with my brother. 20 minutes booking flights with no luggage or hotel costs to vary over. Remember that order to be online? Early 2010s data costs were insane. At roaming, I dutifully followed orders and ate roaming data like a social media obsessed teenager. I logged hours and dutifully submitted them to payroll. I drank like a fish and had the best time with my brother. At the end of the month, I am back, and being a good peon, with my head down and keyboard clicking when the calendar entry pings in. Seems I'm to be favored with another face-to-face. I have an idea of what is coming. Bob appeared to be in the middle of a meltdown. What the heck have you done? You have caused incalculable damage to my reputation in this company. The other board and Jim were laughing at me, saying I can't control you. You are out. You are over. You are... I interrupted his parade, standing to my full 6'4". I'm covered. Your hubris and ineptitude are laughable. If I'm out, it will be my choosing, and with a clean sheet. Jim knows full well that I wouldn't drop the ball on compliance, regardless of you meddling in things you are not even aware of. Everything you forgot is covered, except your own backside. You are not even peer-worthy, let alone superior to me, even though you may be higher ranking. Yes, I got that from a film I can't remember, but this part is crystal clear. I bid you good day. I turned 180 and walked out of the office, into stunned silence across the open-plan 100-seat floor and back down to my desk. I enjoyed the inevitable HR session chaired by Jim. I promised not to use any manner that might be deemed threatening for 6 months. I was also returning to reporting to Jim, who reinstated my overtime for the time I worked on holiday and let me get back to keeping things compliant. Bob did indeed have a full meltdown soon after. My show of assertion crumbled the empire of fear. They left to enjoy early retirement and faded into memory. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.